Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. This is Black History Month 2025, and we are still standing and glad to be here. And thank you for supporting this channel. This Black History Month, I'm just going to focus on the Black millionaires. We have to first give tribute to the founder of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson recognized way back in the 1920s that the contributions of African Americans need to be documented because there is a long history of writing Black people out of Black history and out of world civilization. So we always give tribute to the founder of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson. Thank you to this ancestor. The reason that I want to focus on Black millionaires this Black History Month is because Black poverty and Black underachievement and slavery and the brutalities of slavery and the violence that has been perpetrated against us for hundreds of years is always up for publication. People are always willing to tell the world how poor we are, how dumb we are, how pitiful we are, how whatever the negative is. They want the world to know that we are the worst of the worst. This is America's way of hiding its poverty, its perversion, its degeneracy, its laziness behind Black people. So we do need to talk about slavery. We need to talk about Jim Crow. We need to talk about injustices that have been perpetrated against us. But we also need to talk about our successes. And I'm not talking about these athletes and entertainers and all these janky Black people that we don't know where they got their money from and they don't put anything back in the community anyway. I want to focus on ordinary Black people who made America work in spite of the challenges that they had to face. And I really want to focus on the successful Black men and women during Reconstruction and Jim Crow. And I'm going to start in my home state of Alabama. Alabama has a long roster of some of the most successful Black Americans. Not only that, but Alabama produces some of the most successful Americans, period. In comparison to white Alabamians, Black Alabamians far outpace them on the national and international stage. So in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, there is a barbecue joint called Dreamland. It was established in 1958 by John Bishop, and it has become a chain restaurant in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Dreamland Barbecue was founded in the Jerusalem Heights neighborhood of Tuscaloosa, Alabama in 1958, but has since franchised, opening Alabama restaurants in Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville, Mobile, and Northport. It has also opened 2 restaurants in Atlanta and opened another restaurant in Tallahassee, Florida in 2016. The company is known for its ribs and barbecue sauce. Now, I know something about Dreamland because when I came to Tuscaloosa as a student at the University of Alabama, everybody was talking about it. Dreamland, Dreamland barbecue. So one Friday evening, I went to Dreamland, and I have not been the same since. If you like barbecue, you will love Dreamland barbecue. Jerusalem Heights is its own interesting story. Jerusalem is an old historic neighborhood in Tuscaloosa. It's a middle class neighborhood, working class neighborhood, I guess you would say. with churches and homes and just a nice vibe. You never hear about crime in Jerusalem. There's another subdivision next to Jerusalem, and they just seem to all come together as a nice community. Just a good part of town. It's a good part of town where black people live. It's a working class, church going community where people have lived together and gotten along for many years. Mr. Bishop built his restaurant in the neighborhood that he lived in. For a long time, it was just known as a black rib joint in Jerusalem. But when you are the best at what you do, the world will be the path to your door. And that is what happened with Dreamland. So the people in Tuscaloosa knew about Dreamland, and it spread by word of mouth. So all over Tuscaloosa, people knew about Dreamland. Now, how it got to be really big was that when ESPN and other networks would come to cover Alabama football, naturally people wanted to know where's a good restaurant, where's a good rib joint. So they started coming to Dreamland. And from there, Dreamland was on the map. Before these outsiders started coming to Dreamland, to get a sandwich or a slab of ribs at Dreamland on the weekend was about 45-minute wait. But after those sports people and all of these University of Alabama people started crowding in, you might have to wait an hour and a half for a rib sandwich. And if Mr. Bishop said it was going to be an hour and a half, it was going to be an hour and a half. And then the restaurant in Jerusalem Heights just flourished. White people started coming and hanging out at Dreamland on weekends. You could barely get in that restaurant on Friday night and Saturday nights if you were black because the white people would have all the tables taken up. They'd be sitting there watching the game, whatever was on TV, laughing and talking and having a grand old time. And really, it really pointed out the difference between a black person or black people going to an all white neighborhood and in a mostly white restaurant and white people coming into a black neighborhood. Black people don't bother white people when they come into our neighborhoods or in our restaurants or wherever. Unlike white people, they just have to make a spectacle of themselves if you go into their environment. But white people would be at Dreamland sitting around just having the best time. And like I said, if you were black, you would barely get in there. And Mr. Bishop would just be sitting up there at the counter, smoking his pipe and filling the orders. It was an interesting scene. Dreamland received national acclaim when Brian Gumble of the Today Show, when he was on the Today Show, had been to Dreamland and he shouted out Dreamland from the Today Show, and others began to do the same thing at ESPN and Fox News and other places. And that is really what set things off for Dreamland to the point that investors began talking to the Bishop family about franchising Dreamland. I'm not sure if the restaurant was sold to investors while Mr. Bishop was alive, but his daughter was the one that negotiated the contract. And from all reporting, she got a very good deal. I believe that they received somewhere between 10, 20, 30 million dollars for the name. The family kept the original restaurant in Jerusalem and it's still operating. It's still in operation in Jerusalem to this day. But I believe that the Bishop family will never have to worry about money based on what was said about that. But Mr. Bishop had a vision for his family, and when we're talking about generational wealth, it is very difficult for Black Americans to pass on generational wealth, but it can be done. So Dreamland is a Tuscaloosa, Alabama success story. And just recently, the newspaper called them a true legend in the field. Business Insider rated the one in Jerusalem Heights as number 13 out of 365 contestants in 48 different states on its America's 25 Best Barbecue Restaurants. The University of Georgia's athletic department tweeted a tasty Crimson Tide tradition. The restaurants have received much attention from other local and national media as well. Southern Living listed Dreamland as number 4 in their slideshow of the South's best barbecue joints of 2019. So, 7 things to know about Dreamland. Number 1, ribs can be shipped to all 50 states. The largest online markets are New York, Florida, and California. Number 2, people continue to request that Dreamland ship its homemade banana pudding, but right now they can't because it doesn't hold up during the shipping process. Yeah, I know. One of my cousins was trying to take a banana pudding to California from Alabama on a plane, of course. Number 3, catering requests include calls for the whole hog, especially when Alabama plays Arkansas. Can they do that? You bet. Number 4, rub and shake mixtures and sauces are in 1,000 stores, including Piggly Wiggly, Winn-Dixie, Publix, Foodland, and some Walmart locations. Number 5, the only seasoning that goes on the ribs is salt. At the end of the cooking process, those pit masters baste the meat with barbecue sauce. Number 6, the most popular question people ask about Dreamland is, do you eat Dreamland every day? Her answer, of course. And she probably doesn't. That would be overkill. And number 7, the biggest catering gig, feeding the entire town of Lincoln, Alabama in 2000 to celebrate Honda's announcement that they were building a plant there. So Dreamland is on the map and Dreamland is doing well. Congratulations to the Bishop family and rest in peace to Mr. John Big Daddy Bishop. You did well. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. And I have some more Alabama millionaires that I want to talk about in upcoming videos. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.